Alright, welcome to the channel, and today we'll be talking about the Matrix Mini I-4 music streamer. So with this one, it's going to be interesting, but this was sent out by APOS Audio. They are not asking me to say or do anything other than my honest opinion regarding this, and it's going to be my honest opinion, and honestly, it's like, this thing is great. I'm just gonna get it out of the way real quick. It's a great little device. It's I actually think it's rather good looking, and we'll go over build and aesthetics. But I'm gonna probably make this a quick video, mostly because as much as I wanted to use this thing and make it a thing that I would use in my daily life, it's just not something that I personally would use that much, and that's only found out after getting it in-house and playing with it. And I actually have another streamer that came in that I'm going to probably have to do a similar kind of small, short video, just because these don't really fit into my music lifestyle of how I like to listen, or how I utilize, or how I interact with my audio gear. So that out of the way, let's go into build and aesthetics. And right off the bat, it's a touch screen. Let's see, there we go. Like these, there's little arrows that you can, I don't know if you can see them, but you can kind of go back and forth, and it has like volume and what have you. And let's see here, you got, yeah, so this side is like your streaming, all your different inputs, outputs kind of deal. And then you can also swipe and get it to go to like different settings. Where do I go there? Oh yeah, that's to scan the code to go and log in, all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's interesting device. Anyhow, back to the look. Up top is this kind of glowing Matrix Audio logo, and then the power button, just a basic power button. And it's like a plastic bottom with kind of nice feet there, rubber feet, decent. I actually really dig that look of the sides there with that ridged kind of, for your pleasure, side there. And on the back we have obviously your power, you have all of your inputs and your outputs, and this does have an analog output and all that fun stuff, so your XLR to RCA, and then all your standard inputs. And so the thing with this device that I didn't get along with outside of the build and aesthetics, I think honestly the build and aesthetic of this is actually rather fetching. It's a nice simple device. It's small, it will fit anywhere, and it does its job. Like, it is a USB, you could do all that stuff, but the main function is that streaming factor. And this one, which for me was the factor that didn't work so well, was that it's primarily a local area network only. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no Bluetooth or anything like that, which is not a big deal, but it is a big deal for me, because in the space that I have to test this stuff, I don't actually have a easy way to run local area network like hardwire. And so it was just not something I would be able to use very often. And I'm kind of, when I do listen to this kind of stuff, I tend to be more direct, and as far as like my personal use case, in the sense that if I'm listening to what I would use this for, like my speakers, that kind of thing, I'm usually directly tied in already to my computers, or I'm directly listening to like my analog stuff, which is like my vinyl and that kind of stuff. And so for me, streaming isn't really a big deal when it comes to how I would interact with this device. And once you remove that, it's basically a ESS DAC. And not to say it's a bad thing, but it's just not my preference, and you lose a lot of the functionality. In fact, without having that local area network, you can't access the phone app to actually control streaming and log into streaming and that kind of thing. So something to be highly aware of with the Mini i4 music streamer is that if you don't have a hardwire to your local network, then you're just not going to be able to utilize probably the main function of this device. So that being said, the actual sound quality, it's very standard ESS. In fact, not to take away from this device because it's completely different, but when I paired it with my Maximus Pietus for the Pietus niche words, I always remember that one, the Pietus. Anyways, so when I paired it with that, the Maximus from Niche, and which also has an ESS DAC in it, it was like on par. Like, it sounded the same, and that's just the DAC module that you pop in. And not to take away from this device, because it is a completely different device, but when you don't have that local area network, it's essentially just a USB ESS DAC. And it comes with all those ESS DAC sounds. So it's usually a little bit more on the brighter side, a little more crisp, a little more detailed, that kind of thing, and not as warm. It's not very, it can be punchy and dynamic, but it doesn't have that warmth, and it doesn't have quite that mid-range, like, soul, I guess. So take that into account. That's my takeaway. I really didn't have too much personal use for this, but when you do utilize the local area network, this actually works great. You can control everything from your phone or iPad or your whatever you have connected to it, and it does exactly what you need it to do. So not to take away from this device as a whole, just because I had a personal, not bad experience, but it just didn't fit the way I listen to music or how I engage with my audio gear. So it's once I took that away, once I take myself out of the equation, it's actually a pretty good device. I actually did run local area network to it. I had to run a really long cable through the house to get it to work to that level, and it was just kind of a pain in the butt and ugly, and the wife was not too pleased about it, so I ended up not utilizing that much. So take that for what it is. And really, at the end of the day, that's all I really have to say. Oh, another factor that would be really cool with this that you can do is with powered speakers. So with powered speakers, this would actually be a really cool device, even without the LAN area network, but there's other devices that do that anyways. That could be as, probably even cheaper, so just take it into account. But if you do have it networked and you have like some powered speakers, this is actually a really cool device to like pair with that. Like I was pairing it with my JBL 305s. There's some old JBL 305 speakers that I have that are powered, and they're the only powered speakers I have, so I was pairing it with that, and worked great. It was fantastic. It was a cool little combination, just as a simple little device to put someplace. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this device. Is if you're looking for that proper streaming device and you have a hardwired networked like home, like where it's all wired up for your local area network, then this could be a fantastic device for your system. But if you're like me and don't have a hardwired home for your local area network and you rely mostly on Wi-Fi, then as far as for that kind of streaming, then that can be a problem for you. The other factor I also came into play with this was when I tried to pair just a USB hardware device, I couldn't get it to read the music, and it wasn't that great for me in my experience with it, and I wasn't sure if it was a me problem, which it probably was, let's be real, or the device problem. So yeah, that's all I have to really say about the Matrix Mini i4. I think if you're looking for that network streamer, then this would be great, and you have a hardwired house, or you don't mind running cable for it, works great. But if you're looking for like a Wi-Fi or something that's a little more just plunked down and you can get it to work, this probably isn't the device for you, because it's basically just a ESS DAC at the end of the day without that networking capability or that streaming capability. So yeah, that's the Matrix Mini i4 and that was sent out from APOS. So, and on that, I think I will end this ramble and move on to the next thing. So cheers, everybody. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening.